Mountain bike tyres are so confusing. There's a baffling array of tread patterns, compounds, casings. I mean, where do you even start with it all? With the help of Continental, we're going to dissect everything that you need to know about mountain bike tyres.
Yeah, baby!
On paper, mountain bike tyres can seem really complicated, but they're actually pretty simple. You just need to break them down into these three things: tread pattern, casing, and compound. The most visually obvious difference between tyres is the tread pattern. The most visually obvious difference between one tyre and another is of course the tread pattern, with the more aggressive knobs equaling more grip and the less aggressive ones rolling faster. With the basics of tread patterns covered, let's move on to something more complex, which is casings. Casing refers to the construction and thickness of the tyre, namely in the sidewall and the area underneath the tread. You'll find the thickest, heaviest casings on downhill, enduro and electric bikes, mainly because of the additional strength and puncture protection that they bring. However, they're less fun to ride on the climbs, and that's where thinner casings come into play. Their lower weights will make the climbs that little bit more bearable, but you will have to deal with a few more punches potentially, so you'll have to find the best compromise for you and your bike. Translating all of that into a tyre you can actually buy is super simple with Continental. They split the compounds into three: super soft, soft and endurance, and the casings likewise are split into three: trail, enduro and downhill. Where it gets a little more complicated is pronouncing the names of the tread patterns, so let's take a deeper dive into the range. Let's start with the Xynotal, which despite being the least aggressive tread pattern in Continental's latest range, it's still a pretty chunky boy, so it's going to be best suited to trail and enduro bikes rather than lightweight cross-country rigs. Like the rest of Continental's latest range, you can get it in most of the popular combinations of casing and compound, such as trail endurance and downhill super soft. However, if you're wanting a combination a bit outside of the norm, say super soft with the trail casing or vice versa, it's not currently an option, but it is something that we'd love to see Continental offer in future. Next up is the Kryptotal, which differs from the rest of the range because it's available in front and rear specific versions, though there's nothing stopping you from running a matching pair. But why offer a front and rear specific version in the first place? The front tyre is designed to maximise grip and control, while the rear is optimised for braking and traction performance. Both Kryptotal tread patterns are more aggressive than the Xynotal, so they will roll slower but will offer more grip in softer and wetter conditions. They're both available in the usual array of casings and compounds, and I like the Kryptotal on pretty much any kind of bike, whether it's a trail bike or a full-on downhill rig. Next up is the Argotal, which has a more open and aggressive tread pattern than the Kryptotal. It's available in the usual array of Continental casings and compounds, though I have to say I think this tyre is best suited to either an enduro soft or downhill super soft format. In my opinion, this is a downhill tyre at heart, and I think it's best suited to the enduro soft and downhill super soft format. It just makes a bit more sense to me than the harder trail endurance version. Finally, we have the Hydrotal. This is an out-and-out downhill tyre, and as such, it's only offered in the downhill casing and super soft compound. If your idea of heaven is soaking wet plenty laps or doing your best Danny Hart impression, this is the tyre for you. So that is Continental's MTB tyre range, but if you wanted to mix things up, here's some of my recommendations. On a trail bike, I love the Kryptotal up front with the Xynotal out back, both in the trail casing and endurance compound, though as I said before, it'd be nice to see that lighter trail casing in a soft compound. For enduro bikes, you really can't go wrong with the Kryptotal at either end. That enduro soft compound will give you a decent amount of grip, and it's going to be pretty puncture resistant as well, thanks to that enduro casing. For enduro bikes and riders, you can't go wrong with the Kryptotal front and rear in that enduro casing and soft compound. Though if you are particularly hard on tyres, don't be afraid of running the downhill versions as well for that extra peace of mind and puncture protection. If you're not too fussed about pedaling around because you've got a downhill bike or an e-bike, then the Argotal is a brilliant choice for all-round use, mainly in that downhill super soft compound. But if it starts to get wet out there, just slap on the Hydrotal at both ends for the maximum amount of grip and control in those sloppy conditions. You can find the full Continental range on our website using the links in the description, and if you're not tired of all this rubber, then check out this video.